What's up, YouTubers? This is your boy Big Metroid Fan 12 coming to you with another video game review. And in this review, I'm going to talk about the game Cliffhanger, which was released on the NES, Super Nintendo, the Nintendo Game Boy, Sega Genesis, Sega CD, Sega Game Gear, and the Amiga by Sony ImageSoft. And this game is pretty much based off of the movie Cliffhanger, which stars Sylvester Stallone and John Lithgow. And pretty much the plot of the game follows the plot of the movie, where a group of terrorists tried to steal money from a treasury plane, which was ultimately shot down by an FBI plane because of what the terrorists tried to do and everything. And the terrorists sent out a false distress signal, which character named Gabe, which was played by Sylvester Stallone in the movie, answered. And when he ultimately found out why the distress signal was sent out to begin with, the terrorists pretty much forced him to pretty much find the money, you know what I'm saying, where it's like located at and all that. Yeah, and when you talk about the various versions of this game, it's pretty much the Super Nintendo versions, Genesis, and the Sega CD versions all fall under the beat 'em up genre, while the other versions, of course, mainly the Amiga, NES, Game Boy, Game Gear versions, are pretty much platformers and everything. And pretty much with the beat 'em up versions, you pretty much fight cookie cutter enemies that's supposed to be henchmen of Eric Gollum, which was played by John Lithgow and everything. But the with the platformers, you pretty much fight the cookie cutters enemies there, but you also fight like wolves and like eagles and stuff like that. I guess supposed to be eagles, but with those versions in regards to the NES, Game Boy, Game Gear, and the Amiga version, I don't recall any animals that they pretty much encountered in the movie and everything, along with the hat that is pretty much with the platform versions. There are also the hazards like floor spikes and stuff like that. And I don't think they encounter any floor spikes in the movie either and everything. Plus, there are weapons in all the versions of Cliffhanger, regardless if you're talking about NES or Super Nintendo and everything. It can range from knives, shotguns, and handguns and stuff like that and everything. Now, you could get the weapons from like specific enemies. You know what I'm saying? Like with the enemies in the beat 'em up versions, you fight enemies that use their fists, use guns, or use knives and everything. And and I think the platformer version also includes a handgun that you can use against the enemies and stuff like that. Now, pretty much as far as the weapons are concerned, I honestly believe that the weapons in the beat 'em up versions are more effective against the enemies and stuff like that. But, pretty much, as far as lives are concerned, the beat 'em up versions have you can have up to like 7 lives. It's pretty much 3, 5, or 7. But with the platformers, you only have like pretty much 3 and everything. Now, the graphics, design, and color palette pretty much range from outright awful to mediocre. Pretty much the NES and Game Boy versions fall into the awful category, while the other versions are like mediocre at best, even though they haven't aged. Pretty much they haven't aged all that well and stuff. The controls and gameplay are pretty much the same way and everything, where they range from poor to mediocre, with the NES and Game Boy version being the worst in that category, and the others are pretty much mediocre. I would say that the jumping with the beat 'em up versions for sure are kind of stiff, but with the NES and Game Boy versions, I would say the Game Gear and Amiga version too. You have to be on the top at the edge of the cliff before making the jump, because if you like jump like a little too early, you will miss and might fall into the spiked floors and stuff. Now the soundtrack, even though it does range from poor to mediocre, like with the graphics and the gameplay, it seemed to not match the tone of the movie that it's based on and everything. I would think. I think I'd have to watch the Cliffhanger movie again to be more sure of that and everything. But it just don't match the movie and everything. Now I will say that I'm not going to recommend this particular game at all. You know what I'm saying? Because it is pretty. Because like I said, the NES and Game Boy versions are bad, and while the other versions are mediocre at best. Unless you have pretty much intentions of doing a walkthrough of one of these versions of on your YouTube channel, or all the versions of Cliffhanger and everything. Now, as far as the score, I give the NES and Game Boy versions a 3, because the graphics design are poor. So like the with the awful controls and stuff like that, while the other versions like the Super Nintendo, Game Gear, and stuff like that, I give those versions a 5, because technically they have a better color palette than the NES and Game Boy versions on and all that and everything. Now, with that being said, you can sound off in the comment section about the Cliffhanger video games. You know what I'm saying? You can we can reference which one that you didn't like, which ones you thought that was better, and all that. You know what I'm saying? Whatever, anything about the Cliffhanger games you want to talk about, you can mention it in the comment section. You can even talk about the movie and everything. And with that, if you like this video, don't hesitate to click the thumbs up button. Don't forget to subscribe and hit that bell notification button. This is your boy Big Metroid Fan 12 signing off.